Now, there's something that's really key that I want to point out right here. Where people are really sharing the good news of Jesus, and I could add even a few more over here, really sharing the good news of Jesus, and small groups are forming that become churches. And these churches are on the grow. This is the sweet spot between phases 2 and 3. These are the sweet spots for a movement. This is where you really see the growth taking off. This is where you really do see the church being able to multiply and really praising God and being able to see multiplication and reproducibility happen at an unprecedented level. That sweet spot is something that really is special. It's one thing to get guys from over here to go here, but it's something else to be able to find churches that are growing, that are witnessing, that really do capture this and be able to send them into the harvest. To send people like Paul and Barnabas at that church at Antioch in Syria, to be able to send them into the harvest field. That sower right there to identify, and I like the idea of Luke 10 of sending out, well, I'll do Mr. and Mrs. Sower, how's that? Being able to go out into the harvest. Being able to have men and women that are living out John 15:5. The idea where Jesus said, I am the vine, you are the branches. No one is able to bear any fruit unless they abide in me. Apart from me, you can do nothing. And yet we see those going out. We're going to talk about how to get people into the harvest field next. But the main point in this is being able to help provide a vision of movements, and yet how they can ossify if they don't have something come along. Now, the only last thing I'll say too is what happens when we try with new believers in areas that are just getting the gospel to go in there and try to add in seminaries or Bible schools or whatever. A lot of times these struggle. They really do, because they've not gone through a maturation process. And we see that happening really over here over time. But they struggle. They stay frustrated. And it's the idea of being able to share Christ at a really good clip. Does this make sense?
Yeah. One of the things that we had to deal with was this, we were taught this for the CPMs, right, the church planting movement, is if you want to stop a church planting movement, just start requiring that you have vocational pastors and that they have to attain a certain level or whatever. And so that's why they kept that out of it for a long time. But then they started saying, okay, we got issues here. We've got to get some education to these people. And so that's the question. How do you get some kind of training in there? Of course, today I think we can do that a lot easier than years ago with all the online stuff and everything else.
Yeah,
So
the challenge has been in the past is, and like I remember seeing missionaries come over to the field. Okay, yeah. Like I've seen a lot of missionaries come in, like their vision was to start a Bible school or even like start a seminary in a place that was really this. And it's like, yeah, all right, I'll just hang out and watch you leave the field, which they do after a couple of years. Some hung in there a little longer, but it's like, and I'll talk about leadership, seeing movement overseas in like India, like we didn't know what to do with these people. You know, because they got this from their seminary, from the churches, and from megastar pastors, and from all the books they read, and they just want to go over and they just want to put it here, and that didn't work. Like it just doesn't, But what does it look like? And I think the big question we need to have is asking where, your context. Where are we now, kind of on this continuum? Where would you say you are? What's your context? Where are we?
Institution.
Fourth
one.
Yeah.
This fourth one, right?
Yeah.
We got, honestly, sometimes I have to have conversations with people. It's like, hey, guess what? Francis Chan is not your pastor. Or whoever. It's like, he is not your pastor, he's not your pastor. Who's your pastor? You know what I mean? There's so many megastar pastors out there, right, writing their books, putting their stuff out, some that's great, some that's not so great, whatever. You got your really big churches, you have your really big institutions, you have your seminaries, you have all of this stuff. And in this context, how do you get from this context to, hey, let's get into the sweet spot?
Right.
Right? That's the challenge. And especially if you're thinking about, hey, what does it look like if we actually prepare and we have a pipeline to send our own missionaries who are really going after this? Because guess what? A lot of the missionaries that we send, and I was one of them until I got wrecked for a while and spun my wheels for like years trying to figure out how to do this in a place like India. You know, I had to relearn that I can't bring this from here to over here.